Hip-hop as a genre has often been criticised from people outside of the culture, but due to the variety of styles, subgenres, and the fact that it is a genre that turns 50 years old this year, we are bound to have different subgenres, cultures, and even different opinions on what makes hip-hop hip-hop. And one of the moments that was not just divisive, but set in motion a new wave that would change hip-hop forever was the XXL 2016 Cypher with Lil Uzi Vert, 21 Savage, Kodak Black, Denzel Curry, and Lil Yachty. To start this off, we first need to understand what the XXL freshman class is. The XXL freshman is a list of up-and-coming underrated artists that are seen to be the ones that will take over in the next era of hip-hop. Some lists are quite on the money with the chosen artists, while others fall short of the mark. But when the 2016 XXL freshman class dropped, it created a divide between the new and old generation of rap. The XXL freshman list was stacked with rising talent coming out that year. The only outlier on that list that probably shouldn't have been on there was Lil Dicky. And as with all freshman lists, the Cyphers followed suit. The Cyphers are an opportunity for the artists to showcase who they are and what they're about. And the freestyle Cyphers with Denzel Curry, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Yachty, 21 Savage, and Kodak Black changed everything. Hip-hop was going through a cultural shift at the time. There was the old school lyricism style of hip-hop and a new sound that favoured repetition, harmony, to create a vibe. You could also see the influence the trap sound had on these artists. I could just say mumble rap, but that word just seems so dated now, and to call any of these artists a mumble rapper is just insulting, knowing the future evolution that would come from these artists, but we can get back to that later. To understand what made this cypher so special, it is important to see each artist's style at their respective time. Denzel Curry, South Florida rapper with that old school ability, but had his own edge to him. Lil Uzi Vert, a Philly rapper with a melodic sound, not afraid to stand out. 21 Savage, an Atlanta rapper that came with that dark trap sound. Black, another Florida rapper coming with that trap sound. You can hear the influence of Chief Keef and Boosie. All new and up and coming artists. They're ready to show what they got, and when they did their cypher, they fucked up the game.
Rest in power, it's all about power. Squeeze two lemons together.
What separated this cypher was the don't give a fuck attitude. They just vibed and had fun. They didn't try to prove themselves. They could have went in and did those lyrical miracle bars, but they didn't. They did what was right for them. They showed what they were about and what they planned to come with in the future. They didn't ask for permission, and if they weren't with it, they're gonna let you know. You could argue that Kodak, Uzi, 21 and Lil Yachty could have spit bars to prove themselves, but that wouldn't have reflected their style. How would have Uzi shown what he was about? How would have Kodak, 21 or Yachty showed who they were if they just stuck to the script? The only one that you could say did that lyrical miracle spitting bar style was Denzel Curry, but that did represent what kind of style he came with as an artist, and it reflected who he was. And I fuck with Denzel Curry heavy. For a lot of people, this was their introduction to the new wave, and with that there was a lot of hate. And I remember at the time a lot of people only fuck with Denzel and berated the rest for their lack of skill. And I know this because I was one of those haters. I remember seeing the Facebook memes about the cypher. Everyone was trashing on it on Twitter. I thought it wasn't real hip hop, but the truth was I was only listening to Eminem or old school 90s rap. I wasn't really vibing with hip hop, so who the fuck was I to have an opinion on a generation that I didn't even understand or hadn't even given a chance to listen to yet? But when this cypher dropped, I realized I gotta pay attention to these guys, and sure enough, over the years, these artists that I was supposed to hate became some of my favorite artists, and the moment they said was the end for hip hop is what got me excited about it again.
Every single last one of them, including Designer, are legends. I don't give a fuck what anybody say.
100%, man.
They're all talented. They're all gangster. You know what I'm saying?
That freestyle, that shit, is it crazy? It goes
You know what I'm
viral.
saying? G Herbo's raw. Dave East is raw. Designer's raw. Kodak is raw. Who
21.
else? 21. Uzi, Yachty.
Despite the doubt from the old heads, all these artists did defy the odds and went on to become even bigger. They evolved and developed their own style, and this freshman class is probably the most successful freshman of all time. And I'm not the only one to think that. In this era of hip hop, this cypher has achieved icon status. It is easily one of the most praised cyphers of all time. Patrick CC has called it legendary.
I think a lot of you guys agree with me, but this is S tier, bruh. It's S tier. That's it. it's S tier.
And we know everyone wanted to replicate this freshman class. Even 3 years later, Lil Mosey tried to replicate the iconic sorry ass beat bar, cause everyone knows how iconic it was when Kodak said it. As I said earlier, you could call this the mumble rap era, but it's such a loaded and dated term. It's an oversimplification at best and disrespectful at worst. This wasn't the mumble rap era, or it wasn't the end of hip hop. It was the start of a new wave, and I got mad love for the old school, and this didn't take away from it. It just created a new form of hip hop for a new era. I could go on and on about the legacy and impact it's had on the culture. I'm just happy that it made me excited about hip hop again.
We was kids, bro. Like, we was really kids. So, crazy story, right? Not crazy, but true story. When we did this, right? We did it like 3 or 4 takes, right? We did like 3 or 4 takes. And everybody did their text their verse a few times. Everybody said different things. Carter did it one time. He did it one time only. He did it one time and he was like, I'm not doing it again. It was crazy. Like, all of us, we rapped like 3 or 4 times on our verse. We did it like 3 or 4 times. You know, and they picked the best ones. Carter did it one time and he's like, and he never did it again. He was like, this beat sucks. He's crazy.